It's a pickle brine sour. It's going to be called Pickle Rick.
Pickle Rick.
Pickle Rick. Oh, jeez.
I'm Pickle Rick. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Hoppy Craftsmen podcast. We are here again, and we're on location with the boys. Chris.
Hello.
I'm Jeff.
And here today we have with us Noel.
What's up?
Yep, head brewer here at 12 West.
Yes, I am.
Perfect. We're here in Gilbert and in a barn, in an awesome brewery in a barn.
Yeah, this place is pretty awesome. So this is a communal space, is what they call it?
Yeah, it's
a craftsman community, right?
A co-op, if you will. So
Okay.
there's a couple different businesses, ranging from a letterpress to wood shop to, pizzeria, and then our brewery.
Gunsmith.
Gunsmith, yeah.
Something for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a absolutely awesome looking tap room. You can't deny that. Sweet to be here.
So as we were actually talking about before the podcast, we might as well go ahead and do the listener question first, so we actually know what is the name of this place. What's the official? Because we've heard a couple different things.
There's a couple of pronunciations of this of this barn.
Which I don't know. Do you want to actually say them? What we think they are?
I like Barnone.
Or what
I'm a fan of Barnone.
I'm with Nate. I like that too.
It sounds French.
I was always of the opinion when I saw it that it's Bar None, but I can see where people call it Barn One.
Barn One. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's I call it bar none, but Joe Johnson says it's whatever you want it to be.
Oh, man.
Way to be non-committal.
That's the most PC.
What do you want it to be?
Anticlimactic answer.
Well, that settles it. This place is now Fort Kickass.
Yeah, there you go.
No kidding. That's funny. All right. Well,
I've rebranded this.
So we have some flights of beer in front of us here.
Yeah,
Are
let's
they
talk
the
about that.
same flight, or actually it's all 12 beers, right?
It's all 12 beers
Man,
that we
that's
have
gonna
on
get rough.
tap. Yeah, so we're mostly IPA heavy right now because
no.
Is it?
darn.
Is it? Right.
No, but we're IPA heavy because obviously I love IPAs. We have everything from like a stout to a couple sours on right now, and then our Belgian wit. But we have a pretty good range of beers here.
I actually want to talk to you about that sour you guys have up there, the Inside Job. That was a collaboration with BRI.
It was.
I'm looking forward to trying that.
Yeah, that beer was interesting to make. It was our first kettle soured. We did it like it was our first attempt to do a kettle sour.
Really?
And it came out great. It just
All right, which one's that on this panel? That's this. That's
should
this
be.
If it doesn't know, Nate is pointing to one of the flights and pointing to the beer.
Yeah, they were awesome enough to bring us a flight of every single beer they have on tap here, so it should be the fourth one in. Oh, on the second one, that's right.
And I'll say this: my HIV will kill all the other germs,
Oh, yeah.
so don't worry about sharing.
Yeah, no
I guess it's
problem.
fine.
I'm happy to
Sharing
do
is caring.
Yeah,
man.
that's what they say.
it. Yeah, that's awesome. Let's go try that. Yeah, that's sweet, dude. That's awesome. That's a great sour.
Thank you very much.
So we do that.
I love kettle soured beers. I really do. I think they
Why don't you pass that over the mixer, Nate?
Yeah, no problem.
It's cool.
That is
Water.
super good. Kettle sours are awesome. That's a good one. So, dang.
This is the night job.
No, excuse me. That's the Inside
Inside
Job.
Job.
Inside job. Why did I say inside night job? Sounds
know.
like a good name
I mean,
too.
Night
Could
job?
be
Did
Knife job.
I like
you
that.
say knife job or night job?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Whatever you want to be. Well,
I'm just saying, either one sounds great.
What do you think he said?
it seems like we're really good at making up beer names on this show. I don't know what that's all about.
It's just conducive to it. It's just a good environment for it. That's awesome. So another notable is the Super Beaker. You guys just released that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, would you send that one my way? It's the second one in there.
This one?
Yep.
This one?
That-
Which one?
That one.
This
Yeah.
one?
That one
Oh,
right there.
God damn it. Fuck me.
Pass that over the mixer. So let's get into kind of your history. Did
Yeah.
you start brewing somewhere else? Are you a home brewer, or what's your story?
So I started home brewing pretty much. Everyone has, I guess, their own weird story about how they got into home brewing, but mine was Blue Moon variety packs.
Oh,
Nice.
all right.
So
And we're done here.
and we're done here, right?
Okay.
Well, before that, it was Miller High Life. So
Exactly.
It's the champagne of
I'm a
beers.
firm believer. I used to drink Miller Lite, and then I was like Blue Moon, and then that was totally a launching pad for real beer. So hell yeah.
for sure, yeah. So it started off that way. Me and my cousin, he would come over and bring a variety pack, and I was getting kind of bored with them, and that was before I had Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. And as soon as I had the pale ale, man, I sent me off into like this whirlwind of like, what, how?
Yeah.
So,
That's super.
like probably a week later, I decided to buy my own homebrew kit, and then tried to brew. And that was it was so bad.
What'd you try to brew?
The look on your face right now,
was-
as you recall it.
It was like, like a murder that you saw. I'm just like, oh, it's so bad.
You go to sleep every night just thinking of it.
No, it was an IPA, but I didn't do all the right things. I barely sanitized, and I didn't have temperature control, and I tried it, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be so good, and it was just, it was awful. So
Sounds like a good learning experience.
yeah. And
I could go into my horror story. We brewed a Hefeweizen for the first homebrew I ever made.
Yeah.
It was really horrible. It was like you said, it was like, this is gonna be amazing, and we did we didn't read a book, we didn't do anything, and then after the fact, you kind of you read a book and you go, oh, I did that. Yeah, I did that too, and we also did this. So.
Yeah,
I feel your pain.
Yeah, it was interesting learning how to brew for that first time. But after that, it kind of took on a life of its own. I started expanding my homebrew equipment, and next thing you know, it took up my garage. And then after that, I started asking a bunch of people, like, hey, let me see what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And then right before I opened up 12 West, I was working at BRI for a little bit.
Where are you? Okay.
With those guys. Those guys.
They're awesome.
Those guys over there.
They're good dudes.
Yeah.
Those dudes.
Those dudes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So what was your pre 12 West Brewing? What's your home brewery setup like?
The last setup that I had was a Synergy brew system. It was a 15-gallon, so it was semi-automated at that point.
Badass.
Yeah, like I got pretty into it before. I was just like, why am I throwing this much money into homebrew?
Yeah.
Because it gets to the point where you're just like, I'm spending thousands of dollars. I might as well save this and like try to open up my own thing. But yeah, it was that. I had a temperature controlled fridge. I had
That's awesome.
pretty much stainless everything, and yeah.
It's funny because I was at work and this guy was telling me, he's like, my friend went to this guy's place and, he knew this guy that had like this brewery in his garage, and he went there and it's like a bar, and he said it's like the nicest brewery he's ever been to, and it was in a dude's house.
Yeah.
And he's like, come to find out, the guy he's like the brewer at 12 West. He's like, it's seriously like the best brewery in Arizona in the guy's garage.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
So that's where that question came from.
Gotcha.
That's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Now, in contrast, just as we can see it, what's the size system you're brewing on here?
So the one that
At
we
12
have here
West.
at the tap room is a 1-barrel.
That's awesome.
It is our, I guess, pilot system.
Yeah.
That we have yet to use.
Really?
So our plan is to fill pretty much all of these barrels with sour like beer.
Wow.
So
that's exciting.
This is going to be pretty much our souring facility.
Badass.
So.
Okay, because looking at this place, it's not really, unless you're hiding it somewhere really well, there's not really a very large brewing system here.
No, we have another location for our production facility. So that one's a 10-barrel brew house.
Nice.
We have right now 120 barrels worth of fermentation capacity.
Nice.
So it's a pretty big facility. That's where we house everything, and we also have all our clean barrel stuff over there.
Right.
So yeah, it's quite a ways away
Is
from
it?
here. It's like 15 minutes. But
Okay.
That's where I spend most of my time.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm especially excited about that. I mean, this place is like 10 minutes from my house, so I'm pretty spoiled. But the rest of you guys had to drive like 30 minutes to get here.
Yeah, it's totally worth it though. So so speaking of 12 West, love the logo. If anyone's ever seen it, we'll have the blog for sure. But
Of course.
love the logo. How did that name come about? Like, what was the thought process behind 12 West?
So 12 West is the address of where we're going to end up. As we all know, things don't go according to plan, always.
Right.
So what ended up happening is 12 West Main is the building that my business partner owns on 12 West Main Street in Mesa. And there's a tenant in there already. We're just waiting for them to move out, and then we can start building the bigger...
Oh, wow.
The bigger brew pub, if you will. We're taking that 10-barrel, putting it in there.
12 West
Nice.
North is what we're going to call it.
12 West North. Yeah. Yeah. So that was the whole main drive behind that. It was just the address of the building that we wanted to to be in. So
That's awesome. So you guys built this place here in Gilbert, knowing that it was not the forever home, knowing that it was going to be a much bigger operation to be built.
it turned out to be, this is probably going to be our forever home anyway. So we'll have 2 locations.
Oh, absolutely.
I was pretty close with everyone in the Agritopia community, so when we opened up, like, it was definitely home.
Yeah.
Here, so there's no way I could take this away from here. It's definitely we all love being here.
Absolutely. It's in the Agritopia, just since you mentioned it, it's such a really cool community. I mean, you guys are right next to the farm. They've got the community there anyway. You've got the coffee shop at Joe's Farm Grill. It's the culture here is.
Yeah, I guess for anybody
gotta
that
be
doesn't know what
this.
this place is, we'll explain more what that would actually be. Like, this is Joe's Farm Grill next door. Like, it's like you said, it's not just this building, it's multiple things on this one property, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's literally an orchard across the parking lot, and that's where we get our citrus when everything's in season.
Yep.
There's a communal garden that if we decided that we needed anything from there, like, the neighbors would be more than happy to let us, like, take some stuff.
Very cool.
And then they have literally just a giant farm, like, bunch of farmland over here that they grow a bunch of vegetables and different types of things that we plan on using as well. But I mean, besides that, there's Joe's Farm Grill, there's the coffee shop, there's Backyard Taco now.
Right.
And then they're building Epicenter, which is going to be, I don't know if you guys heard about that, but it's going to be like this kind of big multi-purpose, I don't know, thing.
Thing.
I don't know the word for it, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of, it's supposed to be like food and beverage, like, centered. So
that's cool.
This is going to be kind of like a little hub of just food and beverage. Which
Well,
is
you could
pretty nice.
you could see how important 12 West is to a community like this. I mean, Agritopia seems super tight knit, so I'm sure you guys fill those people up in here every night.
It just seems like a real good location because, I mean, I'm sure, like every other brewery, you guys have your regulars and you have the people who show up, specifically because they're coming here. But again, you have the huge draw of Joe's Farm Grill to where people eat. It's like, hey, let's go see what's going on. Or, you got the people walking through, bar none, just checking things out. And it's like, oh, hey, let's get a beer. Or, oh, hey, the brewery's crowded. Let's get a crowler to go. So it seems like it lends itself pretty well to, drive-bys, walk-bys. Hey, I'm gonna grab a beer.
Yeah, we it's crazy how much and like new people we see every day. I mean, we're not even a year old, but it's like every weekend it's like Flight City.
Yeah, I bet. I guess, since we talked about it some more, you said it's IPA heavy. You guys, how do you drive the styles you like to make? Is that it's just like what you like, or you listen? Is it a committee type deal? How do you operate?
So this is gonna sound weird, but I've had a lot of friends in like the music industry. So and one of the things they always told me was make music for yourself. And you'll be happy with it, and that's pretty much the way I approach beer. Is I make beer for myself.
Perfect.
And if that I feel like that reflects in what I do, and people seem to kind of really like react to that and gravitate towards that.
No, it makes sense. I mean, you make beer that you like. Do you actually? Is there any part of you that like follows trends in beer, or like looks at things in beer that and goes, we should make one of those? Or
absolutely, you have to be able to kind of go with a flow, if you will.
Right.
Okay.
So we do pay attention to what's trending or what maybe the next style, and then if we want to do it, we'll do it.
Right.
For me, Kalax, which is our New England style IPA, was
I should try that.
Yeah,
I'll try that right now.
Yeah,
Hold
I
on.
was gonna say, why don't you grab that? That's a
I
good
thought
idea.
it was orange juice. I didn't
What
know
a
it was
wonderful segue that was.
right.
Perfect.
You're welcome. I'm kind of a professional amateur here.
Marketing genius.
He's been on one podcast or two. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'll pass it around the mixer. There you go.
So yeah.
But it was that one was a challenge for us because it being such a new style, and pretty much everyone's pretty secretive about how they make theirs.
Right.
It was
what they're.
right. It was really hard to nail down at first, and I think we have it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, that's tasty. That's absolutely really good. I haven't had it for forever.
What is the secret?
What is the secret?
what is your
You're never
secret?
gonna find it. And it's cool because I don't want to downplay the fact that making beer, anyone can do it, but all beers are pretty much 4 ingredients, so it's cool to see how many brewers can do so many different things with the same ingredients, and just a little tweak here, or, based on hop bill or mash bill or whatever, it can make a completely different beer. That's what I love about this so much in drinking beer. It's
definitely like, especially with Kalex, is that one's kind of like a pain in the butt to make, but it's totally worth it. It literally, with that one, man, it's mash temperature and it's all water for us, like how we do our minerals in our water, so it and how we hop it.
It's just not straight Gilbert tap water, man.
Nope.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Wow. Yeah, I have when I was home brewing, that was one of the things. I'm like, I can't get this chlorine taste out of my mouth, and it really bothered me because I spent a long time trying to like develop like a palate so I could taste and be sensitive to a lot of things, and then that was one of them, was literally being able to taste chloramine in the water, and it just bothered me. So,
Did you guys get the notification from Gilbert about the water? We got like Flint Jr. going on. I get this note in the mail, and it's like, hey, you may have known, and they tell it's like all this highly scientific like water chemistry talk, and then at the bottom it's like, this is pretty much what's going on in Flint, and it's not that bad yet, but we have to tell you, and it's like, cool. This is awesome.
Man. Well, good thing, because we go through a carbon filter, then an RO, and then it goes through a UV lamp before it goes into our tank.
Dang.
So, I mean, we treat our water like crazy.
It's like the water in my fridge at home. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same.
It's pretty much the same.
Get a pitcher, dump it in at one time. So, a place like this that's a communal place, what were some of the challenges of actually opening 12 West up?
So one of the challenges was people trying to take beer all over the place.
Oh yeah,
and
people just leaving with to getting a pint and just walking away.
Yeah, just walking away.
The gunsmith. You're going to the gunsmith,
because people can't see it. It's pretty open. There's a flow to it. I mean, you guys can.
Sure.
Right. You really don't have like a front door that like blocks people out. You just have some gates.
It's community.
Right.
You're meant to be able to see other people. See other shops and stuff. But so people are walking away with beer, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. So I mean,
then you hired Jalen to beat everyone's ass who tried to leave the premises.
Pretty much. She's pretty good at that.
Yeah.
You look like you got it in you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So people were taking, pints over to like Fire and Brimstone or Garage East. Well, I mean, now you can take whatever like pints or crowlers over to Garage East. We kind of commingled our patios. The city let us do that, which is great.
Right.
But you still have to take like a crowler anywhere else. So like so like Fire and Brimstone has a BYOB license, and same with Uprooted Kitchen. So
cool.
you could literally just grab a crowler and go drink over there.
That's awesome.
So I mean, there's ways of doing that. I think even I don't know if anybody else has a BYOB.
The gunsmith doesn't? I'm going to go back to that. We can't go to the gunsmith.
I don't know. You know what? That's a good question. I should ask.
Yeah, we're all professionals here, dude.
It's Arizona. Come
He's
on.
not drinking.
It's a
the
gunsmith.
customers are.
It's a gunsmith in Arizona. It's implied.
Right.
I mean, it's not like you're shooting anything.
Yeah. He's
Yet.
Not that I endorse drinking and shooting. I just want to make that clear.
So let me ask. We were talking about we were beginning to talk about your journey to creating 12 West. When you were making the front side, I mean, I imagine the front side IPA is something you thought of, that's a flagship beer for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
How do you hone that beer? Or, is that something you just struck gold with, or is that something you just kind of honed and narrowed down? And
That wasn't your first IPA that you brewed, right?
No.
Because that's a good IPA. I love that IPA.
Thanks, man. It was my take on like a traditional West Coast. I'm from San Diego.
Right.
So that to me was like a huge deal, getting a solid like West Coast IPA down. And that one took me probably about five or 6 years to actually get to that point.
Nice.
Yeah, and I mean, it was
you
literally...
can taste it, man. I mean, it's I'm no joke. I love that beer. That's
thank you.
I'm saying you're from San Diego. It's like that makes sense, man.
Yeah.
It's like if you can taste that.
So I followed like the water profile, like from like San Diego water, and it gets like really complicated because they use a blend of like city water and then RO, and then they add minerals into it. So I kind of made my own like water for it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it took some time because it was always like, oh, it's a little too malty on the back end, or it's like the bitterness is like not the way that I want it to. I don't know. I think of like how like flavor profiles and like waves.
Right.
So like, you know, it should be like kind of like music. Should it crescendo here, decrescendo, or like staccato, like like boom, like
Totally.
right there. So that's kind of how I try to like formulate like beers and like flavor profiles. Because for me, that one was like, this needs to be our IPA, and I needed it to be as close to what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one took a long time.
Well, you can tell. I mean, honestly, that's a killer flagship IPA. I love that beer. I enjoy getting a crowler of that as often as I can. Chris just handed us a new one. Which one's this, Chris?
The bunk beds.
Bunk beds. Okay. What kind of beer is that? Oh, my bad. Bunk beds. It's Kolsch. Nice.
Kolsch.
I like it.
Which I'm not even a huge fan of the style of beer just in general, but that's actually really good. I like that. Just because maybe because a little bit of sweetness more to it.
Yeah, I mean, we try to kind of like, I don't know, play with like the areas of like where styles should be. Like I like to push it to like
Yeah.
the very edge.
But it should be that way.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's the good thing about craft beers. You can do those things. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it just every style that we do is kind of like a variation of what it should be, you know. So Kolsch was definitely like I definitely like that one. Has a little bit of a thicker body than most Kolsch beers, but and also a little bit of residual sweetness.
So, and coming back around a little bit, so flagship beers for you guys.
Yeah. What are the flagship beers?
I was gonna say, so you know, I got front side IPA. What's another one? You know, when this place was kind of, you know, front side's gonna be on tap all the time. You know, any other beers here? What are your other flagships for you?
So Midnight Run, my
yeah.
coffee stout.
Yep.
I'm a huge like just dark beer guy. Like I don't necessarily drink them all the time, but
Yeah.
like stouts I love to make, and
Yeah.
And that was one of the big ones to kind of nail down, because I always thought that coffee stouts were a little the ones that I liked anyways were always like super coffee forward and not sweet in any way, or you know, like crisp, like they were just coffee, like a black cup of coffee. So the way that we do this is like we take whole beans and we steep them for 5 days, so it's like dry hopping essentially.
Dang.
And so it's, I mean, and it's also like it's like cold brew.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, you want to grab that one?
So you know, it has like this really smooth.
It's making me want it. Big time.
Yeah. I'll grab it. No worry, Nate.
I'm just like staring into his eyes as he tells me about it. I'm like, yeah.
You guys
all right,
need a moment.
You need this, right? Guys.
Wrong side of the table for the Dutch Rudder. Sorry.
Is there such thing as a quadruple Dutch Rudder? I'm just saying.
We can work it out.
Oh God.
All right, let's see this. Yeah. All right,
If
continue.
I'm not
sorry.
looking in your eyes and he's not looking in my eyes, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Oh yeah, no.
should be all right.
No
We're all
eye
friends. As long as
contact.
we punch each other afterwards, it's fine.
Start talking about a football game or some shit. So you know, steep. So yeah, it is like cold brew. That's awesome. I don't know if you were
really
going to go anywhere past that, but that's, you know.
No, I mean that's pretty much it. It's just cold brew. I really enjoy that one. But those front side and Midnight Run were pretty much the ones that I had set in stone.
Right.
And then everything else was just kind of things that I came up with because I had more availability to ingredients.
Right.
Yeah.
So talking about the trends earlier, is there, so New England style IPA was kind of the trend that's been happening for last year, we'll say at this point. Is there something you've seen maybe in the industry that is actually going to overtake that at some point here? Like something that you're like, that's the next trend, that's what everybody's going towards?
Everyone's been saying saisons, and I've been saying saisons forever.
Okay.
I've yet to see that.
Yeah, I've yet to see that.
But everyone's like, oh, saison, that's going to be the new trend this year. And then that's what they said last year, and then it's always something else. So it just, you don't really notice it until it's already happening.
Okay,
and everyone's still kind of like on this like New England IPA kick right now.
Well, I feel like you guys are. I mean, in my personal opinion, that kettle sours, and farmhouse ales. I mean, people are. I think that's. I don't think anything's ever going to knock IPA off the top, but
Right.
that's
Well,
what I'm after right now. And I think, you know, when you guys said you're going to start to fill all these barrels with some sours, it's like, sounds great, man. Can't wait for that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think sours
Yeah.
are next for
Well,
sure.
fruited sours are always kind of like a solid thing, and
Yeah.
I feel like they'll always be kind of steadily rising. You know, well,
Right.
just the more that people get introduced to them, I feel like there's a greater appreciation for that.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of where like I feel like our focus is going to be like going towards right now is sours, considering that we have so many IPAs on lock right now that we can just produce that we've nailed. I think
Right.
I can focus on that, you know,
Big time.
program.
I've heard, was that lagers?
Yeah,
supposedly lagers.
There's a lot of lager fans in the valley.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
pretty odd.
So Yeah. I haven't hopped on the wagon yet, but I'm not saying no.
Right. I mean, I'd be surprised. I mean, if you make some really hoppy lagers, I'd be all right with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We were thinking about making a Pilsner. Sorry, Alex, if you're listening. We were thinking about making a Pilsner or even going to a like kind of like an American lager situation. Just because it's, let's all be honest here, like that kind of beer is like good to just drink on like in a summer day.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not opposed to drinking like $2 PBR either.
No one should be.
Right. I don't want to do flip cup with that midnight run. That might be a little difficult.
Yeah. That's gone now, by the way. After,
we
thanks for really priming us up for that one. That one disappeared after that little intro. Not to interrupt. I'm not sure, but I wanted to keep talking about your beer, man, because we got a big flight. We got we're working through this flight now.
For sure.
Good.
Yeah,
I want to talk about the Miho.
So Miho, that was an interesting story.
That's a triple. I have this written down as a palate destroying triple IPA. That was my own personal note.
Correct. Miho was literally a giant mistake on my part. It was the first beer that I brewed on our system. What ended up happening is I did all the math wrong at first, and it was supposed to be front side. Like the grain bill was front side.
No way.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So I screwed up.
Cool.
I screwed up all my ratios, and it ended up being like this super high gravity beer, and I was like, crap. Like, what do I do? So I decided I had all of this mosaic in our cooler, and so I just decided, I'm like, I'm going insane with this. Like, after tasting the wort, I was just like, okay, 25 pounds of mosaic is just gonna go straight up in the boil.
See what happens here.
And
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and that it came out to that. So we dry hop it with like 2 pounds per barrel of mosaic.
Nice.
So it's quite a big beer, but I absolutely love it, and it's turned out to be one of our like best sellers.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Hell yes.
Fortunate accident.
And I'm also,
yeah.
especially with the bill for the front side. I mean, that's cool, man. That's awesome.
So it has front side bones, and then just it's just all mosaic, man. That's
Palate
it.
destroyer.
Oh, all mosaic, I should say. And then we instead of using US-05 or Chico like we normally do with everything, I switched it up and we used Vermont ale for that. So Conan yeast, heady topper, that
right, gotcha.
That yeast strain.
So you said you miscounted.
That's a damn fine mistake.
Yeah, that's a pretty good mistake.
Did you just have your hands up like
that?
this and like you put one finger down real quick and then you're like, yeah, it seems right, or you put one extra one up, I guess would be.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty much like that.
This seems about the right number. All right, cool.
These are numbers. Go.
Perfect. Well, that seems like a good spot to take a quick break, Ken.
Yeah, sounds great.
We'll come right back with maybe a new beer.
Cool. All right.
Welcome back, everybody. During the break, we actually found out there was a good story behind the Miho. So
yes, besides getting more beer, we all each grabbed a beer. Chris grabbed a Kalax.
Yep.
You got the sour, Jeff.
Yep.
Inside job, and I grabbed the front
job.
side because obviously I have a problem and I enjoy it.
So we were told that there was a good story behind the name of this beer, and we were actually
the
dying to hear
Miho
it.
we were talking about just before we left. Let's hear that.
So Miho, since the beer was so strong and it was, it turned out to be something that was like that I didn't think it was going to be. We decided to name it Miho after what Sam Elliott's character in Roadhouse calls Patrick Swayze.
I approve.
Awesome.
The sways.
Yeah, the sways. So Roadhouse happens to be like Jalen's favorite movie and mine. So
This is recorded, right? This is gonna be on.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
Yeah,
I'd be proud of that.
Dude, what's not to like about Roadhouse?
Yeah, I was gonna
I'm just saying.
It
genuinely.
has explosions. Patrick Swayze rips
Guys, throw it out.
throw it out. So like,
I'm pretty sure Chris Christopherson's in that movie too. No, maybe
No.
not. No, well,
No.
then never mind. Then it doesn't have everything. Then it doesn't have everything. Then
No.
it doesn't have
No.
everything.
I mean, it does.
Oh, you know what I was thinking about?
You're thinking of Sam Elliott. Wait, he just
I was
said.
thinking about, I immediately started thinking about it, some other movie. All right, fine. Go ahead. I guess I haven't seen Roadhouse
You
in a long
ruined it
time.
for me now.
I know. I fucked everything up.
You want me to stop this and just hit record again?
It's not my fault. It was Seagal. I was thinking of a Seagal movie.
It was a Steven Seagal movie.
I was fucking thinking of a Seagal movie. I'm not going to lie.
I can understand why you might get that confused.
I'm sorry.
And Jean-Claude Van Damme was in there.
Who did you want to be in there?
Yeah, anybody.
Anybody.
All right.
Jason Statham, was he in it?
All right,
Yeah,
perfect.
it was like the Expendables of the 80s.
I'm dumb. That's a good name. Perfect.
Speaking of other names, let's talk about the other name of the beer. Was it the Schwifty?
Schwifty. Yeah, the Bavarian. Yeah, let's see here. Excuse me. The Bavarian wheat, right?
Yes, correct. So Schwifty comes from a show that I love dearly called Rick and Morty.
Right here.
Craftsmen
everybody's-
are all big Rick and Morty fans.
I get pretty deep into it. It's like my life.
Nice.
I know. A new episode tonight, actually, as we record this episode. So
Yes.
it'll be fun.
Yes.
Well, we got a guy mulling beers back from Trillium for us, and I was actually thinking last night, it's like, okay, Mark, I'm gonna need you to stick those beers way up your butthole. I'm gonna need to put them way up there. That's the only way you're getting them back.
Good.
100% true.
Man, yeah. We have. I mean, Kalex is also named after a Rick and Morty reference as well, and then we have Peach Among Worlds, which is
Right.
also.
Which I'm going to say this, and I don't know if you heard the last episode, but we could not think of that name of that beer to save our fucking lives. And it sucks 'cause that's such a great name of it.
Peach Amongst World. I
had
know.
like
We fucked that one.
Oh
up.
yeah, it was a
Don't listen to
mid-break,
last
and we were trying to like remember it because we're like, we like that a lot, and we were trying to think of the name of it. We couldn't think of it. Then we had a sober recap, and we still couldn't think of the name of the fucking beer. We had to look it up.
Wait to look it up.
Yep, it was rough. It was not a proud moment for
I
anybody.
listened to it. Wasn't gonna say anything.
Perfect. You're so nice, Noel.
Added to the fact that I called Wren House fucking Perch.
Perch, yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
Drew was like, birds? That's fine.
We really shouldn't drink during these.
Birdhouse Brewing.
It had birds what?
I think it said hashtag birds.
Yeah.
Hashtag birding.
You guys knew what I was talking
Yeah,
about.
we all knew.
Put a bird on it.
Yeah, it was great.
That's good. Yeah, sorry. I was looking at my phone. I'm sorry. Not my fault. I looked up. Everybody's looking at me. I wanted to ask you a quick question here. We were talking about beer releases and can releases actually during the break.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys have any interest for the future for?
So this kind of, I guess, would segue into our 1 year anniversary, which is
so good.
coming
I'm
up
so fucking good.
into.
Remember that earlier when you said professionals?
God,
Right.
Nailed it.
Unprofessional is recognizing how good I am, but I was so good.
I mean, let's just say that I recognize that and I
you
segued
know
that
that.
into the
Yeah, that's true,
anniversary.
actually. I think
Just-
you're
He's the professional.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
the
the
professional.
professional.
That's fine.
good.
God damn it.
I asked the questions that pull this out. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He played you is what he's saying, Nate.
That's right. Mind games.
He's just waiting for it. All right.
So our 1 year is going to be November 22nd,
Okay.
and for that day we plan on doing a bottle release of Peach Among Worlds. So
Cool. That's some good information for all our listeners because that's
Yeah.
plenty of heads up.
How
too,
many?
for
How
sure.
many? How many?
there's going to be I think 430 bottles.
So
Nice.
427 bottles.
Probably.
Wow, Chris, you're so he's subtle.
See,
That's what
see
he
how I
does.
set him up and I knocked him
down.
That's awesome. So
You
Peach Amongst Worlds
you
gonna
just
go to a
pretty
bottle?
much guaranteed Moses Lucero DNA in yours.
Well, that's awesome. That's good news.
Yeah.
And your 1 year anniversary is in November.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
man, 1 year already.
I know it's creeping up, man.
That's
It's
awesome.
It's been insane. It doesn't feel like a year. It feels like 6. But
Me and my wife,
but
came
in a
here.
good way.
in a good way. No, in a great way.
This was like our only. This was like the one place we came before our child was born. Like our last, like one of the last places we
last
came.
hurrah.
We got to we're like, let's go to a bar by ourselves before we can never go again. So yeah,
your wife just
yeah,
drove you
yeah,
to a
my
bar?
wife drove me to a bar. Actually, I realize now that wasn't probably that much fun for her, but she's a good wife, so she got to eat whatever she wanted.
That's true.
She ate some good food. I'm pretty sure we killed it at Joe's Farm Grill right after that. So, but yeah, no, that's awesome. Let's see here, Chris.
Sorry, I'm drinking.
Yeah, Chris, you're fucking.
Is there any advice that you have that people are thinking about opening a brewery? They should have, because we hear it's not easy to do.
A lot of people told me just don't do it.
Wink.
But wink. But no, I mean, if you really want to do this, be prepared to literally throw everything you have at it. It is one of the hardest things to do. It is not easy. But it's truly your passion, like nothing will stop you. I failed 3 times before I got this place. And the challenges never stop, but it's one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. And plus, like, the people around me, from like the new breweries that are opening up to the people that I've just been friends with, honestly, it's like some of the best community out there. But yeah, people that want to start their own brewery, a couple things: do your research as much as possible, and never stop learning, and use the people around you for information, for support, whatever you possibly can. And really, if you feel like you can't be the brewer, hire a brewer, because that's really important. And I know I've heard a couple people in the industry say that, but it is worth it to hire a brewer, because you won't be able to do everything yourself.
Right. So do you think it makes sense to go work somewhere first and get some experience on a production facility and then open a brewery, or is that something that's important? Or
Absolutely. I think that because once you open up your own brewery, not knowing how certain procedures go, there is definitely a huge learning curve. It's just better if you can spend some time in a production brewery and getting those things down. Because let's face it, if you're a home brewer, you know how to make beer.
Right.
But if you on a commercial level, there are a bunch of different things, like how do you do proper CIP on tanks or passivate, or just like carbonation's completely different, or storing keg. Like, there's a bunch of different things. So you can.
And where did you do your time at? I was a question I wanted to ask you.
I did my time at the Beer Research Institute.
Nice.
With Matt Trethaway and Greg Sorrells. I regret all of that. I'm just kidding. I love you guys.
They don't listen to this podcast. Don't worry.
I was gonna say,
nobody listens to this.
It's a safe bet.
We have like 4 people listen.
I'm gonna make them listen to this podcast for that reason.
How much time did you spend over there?
It was a grueling couple months.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was like right on the verge of when we were opening up, and I was like, I just quit my engineering job.
That's exciting times.
Yeah.
Quit your day job.
Yep. Not super exciting. It was it was terrifying.
I was gonna say, what was your day job before you really?
So I was an engineer for CB Richard Ellis. I did a lot of really boring things with a lot of big AC units and cooling towers and stuff like that. So it's
You're doing more fun stuff now.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Most definitely. I'm not doing like expense. Well, I'm still doing that.
No more TPS reports.
No more TPS reports.
Yeah, but they're expense reports you care about. You're like,
and how many bosses do you have now, though, Noel?
I got me.
How many people would you say are directly above you?
Yeah.
Me.
That's awesome.
Me
dude.
and my business partner Brian.
That's a lateral.
We're a team.
That's a sideways move, though.
It's a lateral move. Yeah. You're good.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hate to cut off Chris. I'm just saying, you're living the dream, man. This is awesome.
Well, I was going to say, and that actually is a good segue. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That. I was going to say, people do say there's a lot of bad things about opening a brewery, but what are some of the benefits that you've actually seen so far about, opening a brewery? What are some of the benefits or the good things that having a brewery?
One of them is being able to create a culture, being able to have a sense of community somewhere, to literally put a watering hole into a place that not necessarily had one.
Mm-hmm.
A huge thing for me, and I know for like all of us at 12 West, is like a sense of community here. That's we have regulars that come in and just support us through and through, but that's pretty much it, man. It's a huge deal is community and friendship.
Well, especially where you guys put down roots. This is a serious spot for community. This is what this place was built for. It's what the whole neighborhood was built for. The farm.
Right.
I can't imagine the excitement that for a lot of these people who live right near here when you guys came in. That's awesome.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of that was one of my questions. There's not a lot of people brewing next door to you guys. You're one of the only ones out here in Southeast Mesa. I know we've got Barrio, not too far.
Barrio's not too far from here, and then Old Ellsworth's just opened up.
Okay,
so,
really?
Right,
yeah,
yep, that's brand new.
That's right. I did
they're in Queen Creek. We're actually doing a collab with them and Cider Core from Mesa. So we're doing we're doing that on Tuesday, and that should be. I don't know when that's going to be done, but
still not a lot of neighbors down here.
Yeah.
So it's cool for you guys to carve out your own kind of spot down here, because I'm sure it's great for all the people that get to come through here in Bar None.
Barnone.
And the Barnone.
That is French.
That is.
classy.
I told you it's French.
It's
Dude. I should just
classy as fuck.
should have like a cafe outside. And
When you
all
drink your beer
French
here,
things.
Yeah.
pinky up.
That's right.
Insane.
It's cool that you bring up like the community and friendship because I mean we've been doing this for a bit. I'm the newest member of this podcast and
Been here forever.
I'm what like 6 episodes in and
Seems like 6.
Seems like a lifetime.
it's amazing how quickly we've been kind of assimilated and accepted into like the Arizona craft brew community and
I like us for some
Can't
reason.
disagree
I know,
with
it's
that,
kinda
man.
weird.
It's odd.
And that's the awesome part, just to piggyback off what Jeff said, like just like the community you get to be a part of. That's the amazing part. Just by doing a podcast, we get to be just a part of it, just a little bit.
But yeah, it's so humbling. And I mean, none of us got into this. It's like, oh, let's go drink beer and basically talk to people for whatever reason. It's I mean, me and Chris have been in the
It's a small reason. Not a huge one.
We've all been into craft beer for a long time, so it's really cool and humbling for me to be around these people and be so accepted. And again, it's not like, no one that we've met so far in the community, I mean, even people who haven't been on the podcast, you've never really run into that kind of like, brewer's ego. It's like, we're too big for you, or, oh, you guys are just a podcast, go away. Whenever we go to places,
super cool.
I feel like, we're one of them. So being at the Real Wild and Woody, having people coming up to us and recognizing us for what we do. And again, here we are, we're meeting you, we're talking to you. Everyone in this community has just been really super cool. And that's the greatest part of doing all this. I mean, besides the great beers, everyone is just really down to earth, super cool, like salt of the earth people, not like, fuck off, I don't got time to talk to you.
There are a lot of people like you, Noel. There's a lot of good people.
They're
I
not.
appreciate that.
They're not knuckle draggers.
I mean, you don't.
I'm just saying that right now.
It's not like those wine people.
I will say this. Most of the brewers that I know in this community come from like a similar background, and we all we're hardworking people, and we all made sacrifices to get to this point. And whether they got hired on as a brewer or whether they opened up their own brewery, every one of these every one of these people in this community have really like worked their asses off to be where they are. So I mean, it's a humbling experience to literally just do that.
Oh yeah.
And for me especially, like the people that invested time to just talk to me or literally let me hang out in their brewery and do free work for them, which is actually kind of like, you don't realize like how much that like interrupts what you're doing as a brewer.
Mm-hmm.
But literally to have like someone come in and help you out and show them, like that's a huge deal.
Oh yeah, that's a big deal for them just to let you do that.
Absolutely, and so I try to repay that as much as I possibly can, because that's what was done for me.
Right.
I mean, John Lane, literally let me spend hours at Oso, and Steve McFate, hours of conversation with that man, and just
hear nothing but awesome things
wealth
about
of
that
knowledge,
dude.
man. Like he's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
And I'm
all we hear about him.
super thankful for that. And like Alex, and Matt, who are like my brothers now. Crap, they're like my brothers.
Well, you look down, you're like, fuck. What did I do? What did I do?
So
Where's the exclusive button? Damn it.
But those people really like, they helped me out, and so it only makes sense for me to literally help out anyone that wants it.
Gotta respect that, man. That's awesome. That's the way to be.
So talking about collaborations, you mentioned 2 so far. Are there any other kind of in the future you guys are planning out here that we can maybe tell our listeners to be excited for?
Yeah, I mean, there's like 2 that I can't really talk about right now.
Perfect.
Under DNI with this?
Yeah, but I mean, the one with Old Ellsworth, and then we have one with BRI.
That's awesome.
So
BRI is the current one we got going right now, right? Or are you doing another one?
Yeah.
The current one, Inside
Okay,
Job was the one with
super
them.
good kettle sour.
And then the closest one that I can say by now is we're doing with Grand Canyon.
Oh, really? Nice.
So, and that one's also going to be a Rick and Morty themed.
How'd you come about to get to how'd you hook up with Grand Canyon?
Alex and I have been friends for years.
Yeah.
It just made sense.
Yeah.
At this point, so we were, we're always hanging around each other. I'm always like either he's always, with me, or we're at BRI, or we're at, like in Williams, at his place. So it just made sense. We're like, dude, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like we're literally together all the time. Like we should just make a beer together.
Perfect. That's awesome.
It's a pickle brine sour. It's going to be called Pickle Rick.
Pickle Rick.
Pickle Rick. Oh, jeez.
I'm Pickle Rick. All right. Unless we have any other local questions here, I'm going to bring us into like our some standard questions here.
Yeah. Let's do that.
My personal question is, not elephant in our room, but elephant in beer brewing world is, Anchor Steam just got bought by Sapporo. What do you think? What do you, as a person who's a beer drinker and a owner / brewer, opinion?
I mean, opening up a brewery is very taxing on your wallet.
Yeah.
But
those guys have had it for years.
for sure. And
like
to
retirement age years.
to do the grind, like it's I can understand, though everyone's like morals and standards are different. God, I feel like I'm a politician right now.
Oh, yes.
It's hard not to feel like a douche when you start bringing up these subjects and start, giving your opinion on them.
I'm running for office in 2018. No,
Done. Voted.
voted.
He did not have sex with that woman.
But I mean, you know what, man? It's as much as it sucks for the beer community, I feel that it's just like it's
It is what it is.
It is what it is, man. And you know what? If someone is acquired, then that's their own decision. But I just wish someone would come out and be like, I did it for the money, like,
right?
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Instead of just being like, oh, this and this. Like, dude,
I did it because I was tired.
right. Like,
I did
just be real. Like, just be
Absolutely.
like, right. Like, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I just want to live in Fiji. So.
Thank you.
you
I
go.
totally agree with that. And that's such a respectable thing to say. Like, oh, that's totally fair. That's
Understandable.
totally legit. So, Sapporo bought them versus AB InBev. Is that different for you as a consumer and owner?
I mean, I don't really know what
I'm sure it made them feel better.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I don't really know what their intentions are. As far as that, I've seen like with the Ballast Point
Right.
buyout, like that
Corona.
Yeah, with Constellation
brand,
doing that. I've seen growth in their brand, and
True.
I mean, I've seen nothing but positive things come out of it. Same with the whole like Lagunitas, buyout. But
Heineken.
They didn't get $1 billion for their business though, like friggin' Ballast
Right.
Point did. I
Right.
mean, that's insane.
That's insane. Yeah, if you go, oh my God, there's so many locations. I was just in San Diego
Right.
not too long ago.
Really? Ballast Point got $1 billion?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Holy.
right. At that point, why would you not do it?
So goddamn fast.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been doing nothing the next
That's what I'm saying. Like, if someone's like, "Here's $1 billion," you're like, "Okay."
Well, the thing is, if you're doing
Your
something
hand
for
just
like
shakes and you can't even control it. You just start signing shit. I'm
like,
sure.
like
at
you
that
said,
point.
for 20 years or like 30 years, I mean, if somebody's going to come to us and we'd sign out for way less than freaking $1 billion, I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, somebody's going
The
to.
Hoppy Craftsman's worth not $1 billion, just so you know.
But if you want to give us $1 billion, we're not going to say no. We're going to totally take it.
Not with you talking like that. It's
Yeah,
not,
that's true.
Nate.
Sorry, my bad.
Value your company.
It's
What
$1
you think
million
it's worth?
company.
$1 billion.
But no,
and one.
I
It's $1
think
billion and $1.
I think you nailed it, and I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find someone at any, especially at this table, to where if anyone came to you with $1 billion, or if anyone came to you with $500 million and said, "Hey, I like what you do, I want to buy it," okay. I mean, that's fine, but don't sit here and say,
It's almost
well,
flattering.
nothing's going to change, and this just opens my distribution opportunities. And I think the most offensive thing about some of these sellouts is, I mean, everyone's seen that whole 6 points from the high end, and it's like, don't sit there and try to tell me that you're still craft, because you're not. And that kind of money completely changes your mentality. It's going to change all of your operations. It's going to change everything. And they're kind of like doing the whole, we're just craft. And the most offensive thing is they know that the company they signed with has been knee deep in kind of like anti-craft, questionable business practices. And they act like, hey, we're not part of that. It's like, well, when you agreed to sell to them, yeah, you kind of are.
Right.
I mean, again, everything comes down to like, I guess, what the contracts look like. But at the same time, for me, if someone offered a buyout to 12 West, I still wouldn't do it at this point.
Not ready to. I'm sure you haven't done anything you want to do in beer yet.
Exactly. So I still, have a lot to do, and whoever decided to give me money right now
20 years
try
from now.
try to buy me out right now would be like, man, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Well, and, I think that's why we bring this up. Like, why I bring it up, because I don't want to have a conversation necessarily where you just sit there and bash that brewery. It's more just like you look at it from a completely different angle. It's like, for you as a person trying to have a journey in craft beer, you've got stuff to do. You've
Right.
got beer to make. You've got
That's
things
right.
you want to accomplish.
It's easy to sit here as a consumer of beer and then be like,
Yeah.
oh, they sell out and
Look
this
at the
and
positives.
this. There's a different aspect to it. It's
you
nice
gotta-
to be able to see all sides of the
gotta be a
story
human.
instead of make judgments. So
Chris, you were just giving me some shit about these beers
I
in
keep
front
passing
of me.
Nate beers and you fucking.
Well, I don't fucking know what they are.
I'm telling you. So
Which one's this one?
is that the first one I gave you?
This is the first one.
That is We Didn't Start the Fire, a Justin Bieber
Great.
reference.
That's a good.
Just
You got me. I was like, what the fuck? That's rude. Okay, and then what's the second one you handed me?
That's got to be the blood orange, right?
that's
Yeah,
blap blap.
yeah,
All
that's
right,
what
sorry,
you-
my bad.
You can tell from the color. It's like, I know what that is from here.
Does it ever feel like I guess my last question about breweries being bought out, does it ever like seem like the walls close down around? Like, or do you think it'll get to that point where they just keep buying and they keep buying, and then it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a shit ton of breweries out
Sure.
there, so, but still, there's not a shit ton of breweries making great beer. I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean,
For sure.
you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm
It's
just-
two parties are involved, so I mean, as long as people keep letting themselves be bought out, I mean, I think that it'll still keep going.
Fair.
So I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. There's always, like, you see trends in whatever industry or market it is, whether it's a bubble or not. But the one, like, the strong ones will stay and the weak ones will fall out. And I feel like if they don't close, they'll get bought out, and then it'll just pretty much concentrate the market further.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
For me, it's not a necessarily a bad thing as far as like what it does for the craft beer community. It's more along the lines of what happens in like at the supermarkets and stuff, everything on the shelf,
Right.
because that's where like the real like battle is happening for shelf space, man. And these buyouts create a lot more production for these breweries, and they take up. I'm sure you guys have seen it here, whether it's Walmart, Total Wine, or whatever. You start to see that local is getting harder and harder to get on those shelves because there's so many companies fighting for
Fucking
that
wine
shelf
and
space.
spirits, man.
Yeah.
But do you think that the major model now is to bring people to your tap room anyway? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way to keep a brewery.
Self-distribution kind of thing.
I'm gonna bring it to, like, I guess, music again, but it's like, most bands don't make their money selling albums or whatever. They make it on tour. So,
Your tap room's on tour.
and my tap rooms are like our tour. So yeah, we make most of our money through here, and doing self-distribution for us is beneficial, but it's more beneficial for our tap room.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, we don't plan on being or going to a distributor for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And how much more overhead does that bring? Because you have your beer, and I mean,
And you got to brew beer for everybody
and talking
else.
to the brewers, your beers are kind of like your kids, and it's like, are you going to take care of my kid once it's outside my door? Is it going to be the best representation of my brand once I put it into someone else's hands? And then you see all these things about you read from like Sam Adams or people. It's like they know that none of the beers that are on shelves are older than 90 days because they have people that go out. There's more overhead of people you have to hire and make sure that quality control's there. Make sure that you don't have a bunch of old stale beer on
sure.
a bunch of shelves in stores, or that it wasn't carted to that store in the back of a truck at 120 degrees, just sitting there cooking, so people drink it. It's like, oh man, that 12 West is horrible.
Right.
Well, it's not a representation of what you brewed, because once it left your hands, someone else just let it go.
For us, I mean, that's why we have Sarah Ritchie. She's our brand manager, and she takes care of all of that. She's head of sales, and her and I, that's one of the things that we look out for, is how our beer is being represented out in the market, and how old it is and whatever. So we do a lot of like footwork, to make sure that our beer is tasting pretty consistent across the board. I mean, but that also, everything starts at the brewery as well, with our procedures and nailing everything down. So going out into the market, I know consistently what to look for. But yeah, it's harder and harder the more we grow, and we're still a tiny company,
Right.
and we're in like almost 80 accounts, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's a fair amount.
it can get tiring.
Yeah. That's a lot of beer to brew.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a lot of beer to brew.
So you guys do growler fills, and you guys do crowlers as well?
So yeah, we have crowlers here. We don't have growlers just because we're limited on space. But
Well, that's what he brings in a growler,
yeah, you can
right?
bring in a growler and we can fill it. But we do crowlers here on site.
Any plans to move to like bringing a mobile canner in and doing some can releases or anything like that?
Yeah, we were in the talks about doing that. We were going to do some can releases, probably maybe like towards the holiday season.
Okay.
It's exciting.
Yeah,
Right.
So
I honestly, I'm excited. I'm just super excited as a consumer to see what 12 West does with that kind of stuff. Just because I like your guys' beers, man. And for me, you're super local. So I again, as a consumer, it's exciting to see you guys thinking about doing that stuff.
So we talked a little bit about this article from Forbes too about it's 3 sons of famous fathers launch a new brewery to produce the hottest pilsner on the market, according to Forbes. And
Dang.
Sweet irony.
I wonder if they watched Beer Fest last night too.
yeah. So to your question, it was Lacasse ostrich boots is what they actually saw each other
All right,
wearing.
I'm gonna go get some.
Get on it, Noel.
Get on it, Noel.
So if you guys see me next time, I will have those.
You are
boots on.
literally nobody without those boots.
So anybody hasn't read this article, it's basically talks about 3 kind of famous Napa Valley sons of the one guy's father is of the Budweiser lineage, and the other one is of the wine lineage, and the other guy is like a club promoter or food person.
That makes sense.
They decided to, weird. The 2 didn't know that they were neighbors because they lived not so close to each other for their whole life, pretty
That's
much.
hilarious.
And then they realized, hey, we're neighbors, evidently, in wine country, which is weird. And so they decided to open up a brewery and only make a pilsner. So
It better be a good one. Like I said, I watched Beer Fest last night. They found that beer recipe in their dad's old doll. Maybe they found some long lost recipe.
Grandpapa.
Grandpapa. Yeah. So maybe they found that recipe, man.
yeah,
Shits and giggles, I think it was called.
Shits and giggles. That's around like the same concept of me like, hey man, you have the same shorts as I do. Let's start a haberdashery.
Gin.
Their
Sold.
plan,
Wait, we don't.
their plan is
Damn
to
it.
make one beer.
Yeah, it's make one beer. It's a pilsner. They said they have a binder because that's how complicated it is to make this pilsner.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, it makes you want to try it once.
Do you have a binder for all your
Or do
beers?
you-
No.
Can you bring
it
those out and
doesn't.
show us?
Front side is literally. Have you guys read the Silmarillion by chance? It's the book I'm such a
Yeah,
nerd.
no, it's
the like the book before like Lord of the Rings. It's pretty much like the Bible. It's that
Yep.
long for front side.
That's awesome, dude.
I haven't read it, but I knew what it was.
Okay.
Okay,
Wow, that's
good.
badass.
At least one of us did. I was like, man, we're losing our geek cred all of a sudden.
But I mean, hey, but would you open a brewery and be like, I'm just making front side. This is what I got. This is what it's going to be at. So I mean, hopefully it's a good beer because this is a great beer.
But it's going to be the best IPA ever.
The
I used
the
3
Pilsner?
It used 3 pages in my binder
Oh, okay.
for the recipe.
Perfect.
This is I mean, I think I need to rethink what 12 West is.
Strategy.
Completely
I'm sorry,
you're
guys.
fucking up
Can
completely.
we just like redo this? I'm gonna dump all these beers. I'll just bring out front side and we'll do this again.
Shut down the taps.
Two of those pages are about how you dance naked around the mash tun,
During the pagan holiday.
helicoptering the whole way.
I will say, so here's a quote. This is the best quote. We started thinking about every American lager or Pilsner beer brand is no longer owned by Americans anymore.
Weird.
It's like, wait, what?
Wait, isn't that your fault?
Yeah. Did your dad tell you that?
Yeah. You overheard your dad
did
saying
this.
that? It's weird.
Just saying that's kind of like it's kind of your fault, man. like that's your family's problem.
Were you in the bathroom looking in the mirror and then you
Right.
noticed that?
So I'm
It's
not,
weird.
How American am I?
The answer is none.
Their goal is to do 2,000 barrels in 1 year.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're doing-
Lofty goals.
Yeah. It's we launched in Napa Valley and we are self-distributed for the first 45 days.
Well, there you go.
Ooh, The
And where are these
demand.
guys at?
Napa Valley, California. We ride along with them and hit 15 accounts in one day, guys.
Do they look like they're in an indie band? I feel
They
like
do.
They do.
They
do?
literally, if
Okay.
you look at the pictures, they're
I
like,
don't have to look at the pictures to know that they're wearing skinny jeans.
Right.
oh, they are.
Do they have like the giant like ranger hat? Does one of them have a ranger?
He
hat?
does. He does.
Oh my god!
Somebody have a Pharrell hat on.
Yeah.
They look like they're country music stars with fitted T-shirts and worn jeans, hats, and designer cowboy boots.
Wow.
You find that goes.
You gotta be kidding.
Is one of them wearing
That's
a toque?
That's
Dude,
a lot
that's
of douchiness.
literally that's a band picture. Like, the Brewers, My Pilsner,
Yeah.
the first album.
My Pilsner. Oh, Pilsner, my Pilsner.
Barrels and Sons Brewery, in case you guys are wondering what they're going to call themselves.
Barrels and Sons.
Barrels and Sons.
With Z's.
Yes, there's some Z's in
With
there.
Z's.
They better do Z's.
There's an
in there.
X in between there somewhere too. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's
Good for them. I wish them the best of luck.
yeah, I guess. It's cool.
Insert a fart sound right after I said that. You do that post production.
Okay, pause. Yeah, let's put a pause in there so they do it. All right, cool.
Perfect. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not sure what you got, Chris.
Well, one of the last things we want to talk about
or Jeff.
is did you want to?
Oh yeah, you guys were gearing
wanna
up for
breach it?
something
Oh,
here.
I do.
Did you say you want to breach it?
Yeah, breach it, Jeff.
Ooh,
breach this conversation.
I don't know what it's about.
I've been
so me
dying.
and you were in
Quick,
the same
somebody bend
spot
over.
right now.
Oh my
Chris,
god.
Chris knows what
My
it is.
questions are over.
Is this like?
I hit mine.
So I didn't really even know about this,
Oh,
and so we're at Real Wild and Woody. I'm sorry, I was like really drunk, so I can't remember his name. The owner of Crooked Tooth, Ben from Crooked Tooth. We're having a good conversation about Arizona beer, local beer, and it got into how basically that New Times basically fucked you guys over, and I was like, huh, what? And you know, I'm not a big follow after controversy. I'm not a big drama guy, but I had to find out. And he didn't give me much context other than New Times was particularly harsh with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out like literally the day of Real Wild and Woody.
Did you pee in that guy's Wheaties? Like, what the fuck
I
did you do to that guy?
I did
Like,
some I
seriously.
did some creative Googling and just so this guy, you know, I don't want to not give him credit. But Dave Clark, who is a professional brewer in, I believe, Cleveland or something, I can't remember the brewery, was, and a registered like expert cicerone, basically came in, and even the beers that he liked had like a but, and it was
Yeah.
like, you know, this was good, but basically fuck these guys. So and again,
This brought
the-
your
the-
GM
the
over
thing-
here. I can see this story really brought your general manager over too.
The thing that really got, and I mean, I'm an easygoing guy. Everyone's got their opinion. Me and Jalen kind of talked before we even start the podcast about how social media has just become this society of bitches that all people want to do is complain. No one says anything good anymore. And
Nobody has time to
you
hop
know,
on the internet to say something positive.
Our big thing is, I mean, you know, we want to support Arizona beer on this podcast. You're not going to please everybody. There's 100 different beer styles for that reason. You know, I've had beers that I don't like, but they're not. Yeah, I fucking hate the whole drain pour culture that's become so popular. I have never personally had a beer that was so bad that I thought I had to pour it down the sink. You know, I'm the kind of guy. It's like I'm cheap by nature, so
I paid for this fucking beer.
if I paid for it, I'm drinking it. But this guy just seemed like unreasonably pretentious and overly critical, particularly since the name of his article is New Brewery Review, and he does 12 West Brewing in Gilbert. How'd you guys feel about that?
There's the question. What's your opinion on
We
that?
finally got to the question. Yeah.
Can I take a break? I'm just kidding. No. Pretty much.
We really need a mic for Jalen, I think.
I told her.
Obviously, next time we're just gonna get you. We're just gonna put you in here next time. But yeah, go ahead, Noah.
I don't know, man. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and to be honest, if I got into this game realizing that not everyone was gonna like my beer, I think I'd be crushed by now. But
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't really care. He had an opinion about our beer, and that's fine. Usually, people that are the loudest in that kind of community technically don't make up my. They don't make up who
Not paying the bills.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? And that's what it is there's a community there, there's a part of this community that has those people that are extremely loud about certain things, and It's fine, man. Like they don't make or break who we are. So
They certainly didn't keep everybody from coming through your doors.
Exactly. It's whatever. It didn't necessarily sit the right way with me, but I was
of course,
whatever.
I mean, you put your heart and soul into this. How is it supposed to be like? Hey, that's cool, man.
Just blood, sweat, and
I
tears.
respect
It's
your
fine.
opinion, dude.
Yeah.
No, fuck you.
The way he wrote
actually.
it seemed like more of kind of like just an op-ed piece for his Cicerone cred, and it was just, it's like it was served in beakers, and none of them have a wide enough opening for the proper aromas.
No.
And it's
Okay,
like,
let's get your opinion here.
It's like, you know what? Now,
She's got something to say.
That right there just proves to me you're just trying to be a dick.
Perfect.
Right.
And this is Jalen.
Introduce yourself, please.
Yep.
This is Jalen. I'm the GM here, and I would like
Perfect.
to appreciate that my boss was very PC about his response. I was very happy that I read the article while in the brewery, which is pretty darn soundproof because my blood was boiling while reading it. So,
Well, that's passion, and you got to respect that.
Yeah.
That's absolutely
but
the
at
way
the
to
same
be.
time, we do have to realize we're not going to please everyone, and so it's good that it didn't bother him as much as it bothered me. But there were lots of curse words thrown around and lots of almost breaking my phone while reading some of the reviews. But it's okay.
Yeah,
Can't
absolutely.
please everybody.
And even as your boss is the boss, you got to appreciate that. Obviously, people are passionate.
Oh, for sure.
You gotta have people in the building that love what you do.
Exactly.
And if it was okay with you as a GM, it's probably not the culture you're trying to build here. So
Right.
Well, I'll tell everyone right now, the Swifty that I drank today didn't taste anything like Band-Aids.
Oh, weird.
And that's the thing is,
I just
thank you for being PC.
It's amazing how many people think their opinion matters,
dude.
You know,
Here's the deal.
That's our fucking
need-
problem.
If anything came out of this moment, is that we need to get a lot of beer in Jalen and get her a mic, because
At least a mic. At least a mic.
I
But
think
no.
I think we can get some like award-winning content here.
Some good sound bites out of that.
The things he had issues with, it drove me crazy. Like he talked about
How can you bitch about the glassware?
the glassware. He talked
get
about
lost.
your guys' list that you brought out in the
Who has tasters?
the tasters.
Who has taster glasses that afford themselves to proper nosing?
Nobody.
Yeah.
And
Well, he was mad because the order of beers you put out weren't organized in some logical thing to him. It wasn't like, oh, these are IPAs and these are your stouts, and it was like basically this is number one and this
I
is number
have
6.
to read this whole list
What?
to figure
I
out
mean,
what's on tap.
To be fair, people that like I've never gone to a brewery and they were just like, here it is in order. Like that's such a pain in the ass for like.
I've gone to
like-
plenty of places
like-
that have it
but
in order
again,
like
you know,
that. But there are places with 40 things on tap.
Right,
Exactly.
it's not a brewery; it's a craft beer bar where I can order whatever beers I want.
Yeah, okay,
That
here's the
makes
hoppy
sense.
beers.
the
Right.
first time I came here, every time I go to a new brewery that I haven't been to, I get a flight, and almost without exception, when I get that flight, the beers come in the order that they are on your board.
Right.
So same thing. It's like, I picked 6, and they came in the order. You guys are called 12 West. You have 12 beers.
Which even made that a
each
fucking
beer
issue.
has a number.
Oh,
but
that's true.
I
Yeah,
haven't
good for
been.
you.
I haven't been to a place.
But he made that an issue. He literally made that an issue
Yeah.
too. He's like 12 beers, 12 West.
All right. I'm glad I didn't read this article
Yeah.
because I'd have way ruder things to say right now. But
I mean,
I'm way more
because we thought of like something clever, like people
Weird.
get mad about it.
Yeah,
It's
what?
fine.
12 beers. Get fucked.
So again, I can't imagine what kind of reviews you guys would get on Yelp if you have the beer layman that comes in here and orders a flight, and you're like, well, here's your beer flight, and it's arranged from
my
like
God.
the flavor, and then by yeast, and then by the proper.
Yeah, they'd also have to wait like 20 minutes to get it.
And then people would be like, I ordered a flight, and I had no fucking idea what anything was because they arranged it in some crazy,
These crazy
lightest
assholes
to darkest
have the
bullshit.
nerve to have 12 beers on tap.
Yeah.
and not
honestly,
13.
I think that's funny. I didn't read the article. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm into, if you wrote that article and you feel passionate about the subject, please hit us up because we'd love to talk to you in person. But that's
me
I'm
too.
good for you guys. 12 West won't be there. It'll be very neutral. I mean, honestly, I just think that's funny. I'd love to hear someone's opinion on those kind of things.
Well, he had
But,
issue with like the saison not being peppery enough, and it was like we talked about it earlier. It's
you
not.
you monsters.
Yeah, I know, right? You're
You
like
monsters.
Here's the good thing about craft beer: You don't have to be a certain fucking style.
that's the thing.
Exactly taste all the same. Who the fuck wants that? Who wants a beer that tastes always exactly the same for every different brewer?
Isn't the purpose of like craft beer to be headed by like iconoclasts and by people who literally want to change the game?
Right.
I mean, why
Why stay stagnant and fucking make the same shit over and over again?
My whole thing is
What the
pushing
F?
style, like pushing those styles, because shit. I mean, there's been how many new beer styles that have come out of the gate, and what is too style, and why do we have to be that way?
My only point to that would be is I've been to breweries that are my dream. Like I walk in the door, and I can't wait to be there. I'm just happy to be in the room. There's a beer on tap I'm not just nuts about, guaranteed. You know, it guaranteed. So it's you can't go in there and expect to taste 12 beers that just knock your friggin' socks off. And if that guy came in here looking for that, and he was definitely going to leave disappointed, because it's about taste and what you enjoy. There's definitely quality beer.
But
here,
again,
though, so
I'm not a certified Cicerone. I've been drinking beer a long time. I've had a lot of different beers.
Hit me up for I don't know what a Cicerone is.
It's basically like a sommelier to wine.
Okay,
It's
all
like
right.
it's like
I've
a
seen some, no problem.
It's
Got
like
it.
a professional beer taster. So again, this guy's in the new times. You guys are a new startup. They should be doing everything in their power to help you guys and not hinder you. Okay, so and again, if you want to slag someone on your first article, you could be a lot nicer about it. And again, I came in probably within weeks of you guys opening. I am by no means a professional beer taster, but again, I've been doing this for quite a while.
I mean, I consider myself professional.
I know good beer
pretty
from
full of
bad beer.
myself.
I know off flavors. I know spoiled beers. And I came in here and I was like, wow, everything was really on point. And so for this guy to just basically come in here, even the good stuff was kind of bad, and that pisses me off. So,
Well, like he said, everything that he said, even the beers that he enjoyed.
Cicerone.
Yeah. He has all the beers he liked, he still had a but for every single one of them. It wasn't like, this is amazing beer, but it wasn't a Saison. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Well,
Say something nice and don't say shit at all. I know you're a writer, but still.
well, hey,
whatever.
he gets paid to have an opinion.
I
And
guess,
that's, and that's wonderful for him.
But we're podcasters, so I think with that, we start a new award system. And so Dave Clark of the New Times, I think you win our pretentious Dick of the Week award.
Damn, name
Where's the button for
dropped,
that?
done.
Damn.
Also, second to that, sir, you haven't covered the Hoppy Craftsmen yet. We've noticed you covered a few other podcasts in AZ, so I'm sure this whole conversation will make you want to cover our show as well. So make sure we'd like a little op-ed piece as well for the Hoppy
He can't
Craftsmen.
taste our beer. It's fine.
He can taste our show though.
Oh, shit.
Do a taster of our show, 6 episodes,
Someone-
12 episodes.
What, dude? 12? How dare you?
You
How dare you do
monster,
12?
dude.
Brandon
You know what?
Richter and his brewer tasted our beer, and I'm happy with the review we got. This beer isn't shitty.
Yeah,
I'm in.
that's a good
I'll
review.
take it.
I mean, I feel like that's pretty solid.
I guess if my job was to taste beer and just to be a taster and to test things, I guess I'd take it seriously. But you know what? How can you not have a grain of salt as you enter any tasting of a beer? Sure, okay, if it tastes like chlorine or it tastes like chemicals or it tastes like there's a serious problem with the tap or something like that, say some shit about that. But if you're just knocking a flavor profile,
There's not enough peppercorn in the Saison.
you are a person with a flavor that you enjoy.
Come on.
Even if you're a Somm or if you're a Cicerone, that's a good. I've never heard of that one personally, but if you're a douchebag who thinks you
It's
like to
French.
know what things taste like, you got to know that things. Everybody has a different taste for everything. Everybody.
It's not the
That's
same.
funny though. I hadn't read that article.
Yeah.
Sounds like a cool
But
guy.
you take it back to the beginning, and Noel, you say you brew the beers that you want. They're your beers, and that's a common theme with everybody. So to not even take that into consideration and be like, this beer was good, but these beers were horrible. So they have 12 beers and maybe 2 of them were decent. On a kickoff article, a publication should be helping the local scene, and I just don't get it.
I'll say this, is that when we heard that and then we read that article, I know Jeff and I were, it's funny, we were angry about it. We felt.
I feel like I would have come in here with a lot more ruder things to say. It's probably best I wasn't primed up on
That's
it.
probably a good call.
It's good.
But yeah, we felt the need to, be able to voice our opinion as independent craft podcasters that we could say what the fuck we want. So
For sure. I'll say this though, like I feel like I'm probably gonna get a lot of shit for this, but I feel like with every new brewery that opens up, there's a lot of criticism already going into it, thinking that it's going to be bad. I've noticed that just from the community, and even before I was a brewer, had stake in this industry. A lot of people are like, oh, there's a new brewery. Wonder how long it's gonna.
Just negativity,
Right,
just from
right.
the start,
Instead
kind of holding you down.
Right, instead of being that positive, like I'm excited to see this new brewery open up.
Yeah.
But then again,
The negative Nellies.
Yeah, and I feel like
Did you do
there's a lot of
this?
that.
Did you do this? Yeah.
Right, and so everyone has to realize like week 1, shit's not gonna be great.
Yeah.
Month
absolutely.
6, like shit's probably gonna be better,
Yeah.
and then come back in a year, and I'm.
Oh yeah, that guy
guaranteed
should definitely come
It's like,
back.
it's like Rocky
Hopefully he
Balboa's
does.
bitch wife who kept telling him he can't win.
Oh damn!
Fucking Adrian.
I'll say this from
Was it Adrian?
She wasn't encouraging. She wasn't encouraging at all.
I've had a tough time with movies today. So.
I'll say this.
You ain't gonna make it.
From a geek
You can't
world,
win.
you never buy the fucking first generation anything, right? You come back when they've had time to fucking revamp and change things and do things differently and get everything locked down to fucking where it's supposed to be. So
Even
But
still,
again, I was here probably within a week or two of this guy doing that shit. And again, I'm not a professional cicerone, but I've drank in a shit ton of beer in my
Right.
life, and there was nothing that flight where I was like,
just drop it on the fucking
well,
floor.
you guys got barf bags here?
my wife and I came here in opening, and I realized the story I meant to tell was before she was pregnant, because that would make absolutely fucking 0 sense. So go ahead and cut that out and post there, Chris. But we sat here and had a flight from everybody. We had every beer, and we enjoyed the shit out of it. Yeah, soak it up. I'm stupid. It's okay.
No, it's just
but
funny.
I just think it's so funny how many people assume that their opinion is so lofty and so just.
Right.
That's the one. But Noel, I want to thank you for letting us talk about your review that you had on the show that you had here for your brewery. But Noel, I want to thank you just for allowing us to sit here and discuss the review of you guys' brewery. I know you can't sit there and probably say everything you'd really like.
Oh no, I could.
Oh, absolutely.
I could if I wanted to.
The professional and the right thing to do is do exactly what you did. I'm sure.
But we're a podcast. We can do that.
Whatever.
I mean, it's whatever. But that's honestly how I feel. Like, do I give a shit about this dude's opinion? Like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't affect me whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, he can think whatever he wants.
It's what he does.
Yeah.
Right. It's what he's get paid.
Cool.
It's what he gets paid to do.
And I appreciate things like that, because when people come and be like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
this guy was completely wrong. And that's what we've heard. Like,
Oh, yeah.
For us, like, Inside Job, he called it, I think, to quote him, was a train wreck.
He's had it. When was this review written? Wasn't Inside Job just brewed? Or
No,
is this the
it's
second
our
time?
second. Our
Oh,
second
my
one.
apologies.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, to be like the second rendition, but he said the first time was like, oh, it's a complete train wreck, and I'm like, compared to what?
Dang. Has it changed much this time around?
February
it's still the same.
17th,
Is it the same beer?
2017.
Yeah.
And then what better way to just prove this is a story full of opinions? But I mean, hey, the biggest problem is us talking about it, giving it validity.
It's an
But-
So did you
But-
change any of your recipes, brewing techniques, anything based on this guy's reviews?
Oh, he's a different person.
Yeah, I mean, we literally, what
this
we were,
brewery's not
what-
the same.
What's that? What we actually started doing is we're actually scrapping all our recipes and doing a pilsner.
We
I have a binder for you if you want one.
You better watch how you present that thing.
I'll take the frontside IPA book if you don't need it anymore.
No, it's fine.
You can send
Yeah,
it over.
we're scrapping it. You guys want it? I can give it to you.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not going to do anything with it. Cup coaster or something. Read it every night before I go to bed. I don't know.
Right.
Like that.
It's a bedtime story for the kids.
Yeah. So anyway, well, I want to personally thank you, Noel. I'm not sure what else we have here to talk about or
Down
anything
good.
like
Let's,
that. Yeah, no, this has been badass. Thank you very much over there.
Thanks, Jalen.
This has been an awesome experience. We look forward to doing it again with you at some point. So thanks
Hell
for having
yeah.
us, dude.
Thank you guys for being out here.
So that being said, where can people find you on social media and the web?
So we are at 12westbrewing.com or 12 West Brewing on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
And when's that 1 year anniversary?
It's November 22nd. We have a tentative date for our first year anniversary party.
Yeah. Keep an eye out.
Well, yeah,
everybody.
keep an eye out on
Keep an
social media
Absolutely.
for sure.
Keep
And
an eye out
then
November for 12 West.
and then also that bottle release.
Yes. Yeah, we'll be here. Friggin' A.
And where can people find us, Nate?
You can find us at the Hoppy Craftsmen on Instagram. I personally hang out most of my time there, but you can catch us on Facebook at Hoppy Craftsmen as well.
Twitter as well. We're on there.
Ooh, we tweet.
We tweet
I don't
sometimes.
tweet much.
We do that. And who are the fucking raddest people in the world, Jeff?
Who's the raddest, Chris?
Cena Gomez, she actually is our first patron from.
Oh, that's true. We're talking about our patrons, people who actually pay for us to drink these beers.
Yeah, people actually
wonderful.
support our show because
And SD Beer Talk, San Diego Beer Talk.
San Diego Beer Talk Radio.
Awesome.
Another
Podcasters
podcast.
supporting podcasters.
More
That's awesome.
community good stuff.
That's
right,
cool.
So, if you want to be actually a supporter of the show too, go to our Patreon page, which is patron.com/Hoppy Craftsmen, and support us.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, thanks for listening. As always, I'm Chris.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Nate.
Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Noel.
Thank you.